back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. My name is Maria, and for today's video we are going to be transforming into a mermaid slash siren sea goddess. I actually did this look in collaboration with the beautiful Andrea Marlene on Instagram. A link to her Instagram will be down in the description below, so be sure to check out her look as well. It's been a little strange lately for me because when I start these makeup looks, I actually don't like them at all. Like, it took me 3 or 4 tries to get this look. I actually tried different color schemes, like different colors instead of just like the blue and stuff, but I could not, I don't know, nothing was working for me. So finally I just kind of like said, you know what, we're just gonna go with it and don't stop. Like, just keep pushing through until you're done, and then you can decide whether you like it or not. So as I was doing this look, I was like, I don't know, I'm not really liking it. But I pushed through and look at what came out of it. Like, I love this look. She is slaying right now. I honestly just like have to trust the process. I say that all the time, but it's true. But if this is something you would want to recreate, definitely tag me in your pictures. Send me your pictures. I would love to see them so much. If you're loving this glam, then go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. That way I know. And if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button for me. It'll be greatly appreciated. And don't forget to turn your post notification bell on. That way you're notified every single time I upload a video and you won't miss a single look. But without further ado, let's go ahead and just get right into the video. But if you want to see how I transform myself into this beautiful mermaid siren, then please keep on watching.
So I did this side off camera, and now we're going to move on to the other side. I first sketch out my gills with a brown pencil, and then I'm going to take some toilet paper and kind of twist it up until it's like a little rope, and then we're going to attach that to our face using some liquid latex. And I'm just adding a thin layer first to get the toilet paper on, and then once you have it on there, you're going to want to go over it with a second coat of liquid latex to kind of seal the toilet paper onto your face. Once you have your second coat, you want to let that dry, and as that dries, we're going to move on to the eyes. I'm going to be taking the Valentino palette from Joann's Beauty in that light blue shade, and I'm packing this all throughout the crease. We are going to be doing a halo eye, so I'm just kind of keeping this in like a dome shape from the outer corner all the way to the inner corner of my eye. And I start by packing on the shade first and then lightly blending out the edges with small circular motions. That's going to help prevent from your shadow kind of going a little bit too high. I sometimes have a problem like when I'm blending that I like blend all the way up to my eyebrow and it just gets like kind of muddy. So you want to keep this pretty tight to your crease and just allow the blending to take that shadow upward. Going back to the Valentino palette, we're going to be taking this royal blue eyeshadow and basically doing the exact same thing, but making sure to keep this very low on the crease. You don't want to take this too high because then it's just going to cover all of the work that we just did with that first blue eyeshadow. So I'm just packing this on with a pencil brush and again lightly blending it in small circular motions and just letting the blending kind of move the shadow upward on its own. And of course, I just go back in with that blue shade we used first and just kind of blend everything out. Going back to the gills, I'm just throwing on some loose translucent powder to set them, and then we're going to be going right on top of that with some foundation, that way it matches our skin tone. Just be careful when you are blending because you don't want to disturb the gills too much and move them around. Moving back to the eyes, I am cutting my crease, so I just found my line here and then created my arch. I found it easiest to just pat the concealer instead of trying to like slide it on my lid to kind of create that arch, so if that's easier for you, just pat it and you'll eventually get your shape. We're going to go right on top of that with this silver shade from the Diosa palette from Joann's Beauty, and I did spray my brush a little bit with some water just to give it a more metallic appearance. and this is just a beautiful shimmery silver shadow. But once you have that on your lid, you are going to want to blend out those edges because they are pretty harsh. So I'm just taking some of that deep like royal blue shadow from the Valentino palette and just lightly tapping it on the edges. That way we have a pretty gradient effect. And just to deepen out those corners, I added a tiny bit of black eyeshadow. It's almost unnoticeable because the blue is so dark, but it does add so much more dimension. So it's not necessary, but I felt like, making those corners a lot darker just looked so much better. And then I'm also going to highlight my brow bone before we move on to the brows, and I'm using that same shimmer shade that we used for our lid. I just used a dark brown eyeshadow to fill in my brows, but going back to the gills, I'm taking that royal blue eyeshadow and just concentrating this right on the edges of the gills. We are going to be building this up as we move along through the look, but I do kind of just bounce around everywhere because it just makes it easier for me to work on my entire face as a whole piece instead of just working in small sections. That's how I get my detail to be even overall throughout the look. And next we're going to be working on the scales. So first I'm taking that silver shade, spraying my brush with some water, and just applying that everywhere that I want the scales to be. So really packing that on here on my forehead, and then I'm going to be putting that on my cheek as well. The reason that I'm putting this silver shade first is because I found that when I put the net over my face and I add shadow later, this silver is going to pop through the negative spaces of that net. So it's just going to give a shiny appearance underneath our shadows, which is going to give us like that scaly metallic look. So to get the scales, I'm taking this wig cap that I got from Walmart and putting this right over my head, and then I'm going to adjust to stretch it out and get the scales at the size that I want them to be. And then we're going to go right on top of that with that light blue shade from the Valentino palette and pack this all over, basically like contouring our face with this shadow. Make sure that when you're doing this step, you're like tapping the brush onto your face and not like sliding it around, because if you do that, you're not going to get those like clean, crisp scales. You have to make sure that you tap it. You don't want to disturb the net because you want that in the exact same place at all times. That way you get a very clean scale look. I'm also going to pack this color on the gills that we made. It's not really necessary right now, but I just figured why not. I am going to be going over them later once we take this net off, just to kind of help blend those out a little bit more. And then I'm also going to be placing this on my nose. I'm pushing down the net right here because it does lift since my face is round, but push the net down and then just pack that shade and then you'll be good. And then we're also going to go back in with that royal blue shade that we used on our eyes and just kind of deepen this whole section up. I'm keeping this concentrated closer to my hairline because I don't want to cover all that blue that we just put down, but this is going to create like a pretty gradient shadow. I also ended up adding some shadows to my chin. You don't really see these scales as much as everywhere else on the face, but I feel like if you don't do this step, then it will be noticeable that like something's missing. So just go ahead and pop it on the chin to make everything cohesive. And don't forget to add some of that dark blue to your nose. So once you're satisfied with all your scales, you can go ahead and remove the net. Be sure to keep blending into your hairline, because if not, you get this like weird, like harsh line from where your shadows are to your hairline and it just looks off. So you don't want to forget this step. And again, going back to the gills, I'm taking some more of that deep blue shade and just running that along the edges. I also added a little bit of black as well because I felt like the blue just blended in with the scales. So to make those pop even more, I added some black. And then it got a little muddy, so I just put some white eyeshadow on top of the gills to make them kind of lift off of the face. I'm also adding a little bit of shadow underneath my lips. You don't really have to do this step, but I just kind of add shadows throughout my face to just keep everything balanced. And I'm also going to add some to the sides of my nose. I'm just using that light blue shade just to give it a little bit of like a little something something, you know? And I just blend that out with a small stippling brush. And then we're going to move on to the nose. So I'm taking that pencil brush and that royal blue shade and just kind of sketching out a little point on the tip of my nose. And then to blend that out, I'm going to be taking that light blue shade and just kind of smoking out the edges. So I kind of just kept going with the shadows, and I ended up putting that light blue shade all the way around my lips. I'm basically just concentrating this around my lip line. We are going to be deepening this out in just a second, but you want to make sure as you're moving on through these steps that you're blending. So each time I add a shadow, I'm taking that small stippling brush and just blending everything out. I want this to be super, super blended. And so here I'm taking a pencil brush and that royal blue shade and just kind of using this as like a lip liner in a way. I'm just putting this all the way throughout my lips, but just on the inside of my lip line. And of course, blend it out. I just realized I forgot my lower lash line. Taking that light blue shade, run that all throughout your lower lash line, and then concentrate that royal blue shade to your lashes. So keep that kind of close. And then for the inner corner, I'm just taking a white eyeshadow and kind of dragging this down pretty low on like my, what is that called? Like my cheek, I guess. And then I'm taking that shimmer shadow that we put on our lid and popping that right on top of it. I'm then going to be adding these lashes in the style Sinaloa from Joanne's Beauty's lash book. Be sure to let your lash glue dry down a little bit because if not, it's going to slide around all over your lid like it did on my left eye. But on my right eye, I let it dry and it just stayed in place. So be patient and let it dry down a little bit. It'll make your life so much easier. Moving back to the lips, we are going to be taking that silver shade that we've basically used all over our face already, and I'm just packing this on top of the lips. I wanted the lips to kind of match the eyes in a way, so you'll see how I get that. Now we're going to go back in with some of that royal blue and basically line our lips again. I just kind of add layers until these two shadows are blended together. And kind of like we did with the eyes, I'm just taking a little bit of black eyeshadow and concentrating this on the perimeter of the lips. This is just going to add a little bit more depth, and you could even tell from the bottom lip to the top, it just makes the biggest difference. So I thought I looked a little bit weird, and it was because I didn't add eyeliner to this eye, so don't forget that. But next, I'm moving on to the neck. So I'm just taking some of that royal blue eyeshadow and just throwing this all over the neck. For some reason, it was coming off purple on camera, but it's blue. And then I just sprayed some hairspray on my chest and then just threw glitter all over myself. I mixed some blue glitter and some white glitter, and this white glitter kind of came off as like a greenish pink, so it ended up working, and I just threw it on my forehead as well. Oh, and you can't forget your nose highlight, so I just added a little bit of that silver shade, and look at that nose, popping. Now you could choose to be done with the look if you wanted to, but I just wanted to add some jewels to her, so I'm taking some of that liquid latex to use as an adhesive for all of these little rhinestones that I'm about to add. Now you can add these rhinestones in any pattern that you would want, but I just kind of stuck them on randomly, and yeah. I added some little purple ones too, just because I thought they were cute. I ended up giving her a little bit of a grin using some black eyeliner. I just felt like this made her look, I don't know, a little mischievous in a way because she's a siren and, you know, she lures you in, but at the same time, she gonna snatch you. She gonna take your life, you feel me?
Well guys, that pretty much completes today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn your post notifications on. That way you never miss a video every single time I upload. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you and I'll see you in my next video. Happy Halloween!